Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my YouTube channel. I know many of you are feeling anxious and stressed out right now because tomorrow is a big day, Maths Paper 1. But don't worry, I have got you back. In this video, I will be sharing some last minute tips and tricks to help you ace your exam. From revision strategies to time management techniques, I will cover it all. Let's get started. First, take a deep breath and relax. You have made it this far and you are ready for this. Remember, Maths Paper 1 tests your understanding of key concepts. So make sure that you review your notes last time, focus on most important topics and practice trick questions. Make sure you get a good night's sleep tonight. You want to be well rested and alert for the exam. So let's dive in. Our objectives to cover the topics frequently examined in Maths Paper 1, providing final exam tips, emphasizing common mistakes and how to avoid them, and working out Zimsec typical questions on all the topics being discussed. So the first topic which we are going to look at is introduction to numbers. Make sure that you familiarize with concept of odd, even, prime, natural, integers, whole numbers, square numbers, cube, irrational, and rational numbers. So let's see this question that was in November 2019. It was saying the following is a list of real numbers. Choose from the list a square number. So we are going to select 121 as our answer because a square number is a number that we obtained when we multiply a number by itself. So if we say 11 times 11, we are going to get 121. And then irrational numbers, we have the square root of 3 over 2 and pi. You need to understand that irrational numbers, they include pi and sides. So whenever you are answering this question, make sure that you list all the square numbers, you list all the irrational numbers. Please make sure that you look at that. And also there was this question that was in November 2017. It is saying from the following list of numbers, write down the rational numbers. So the rational numbers that we have there, we have 3.1, 0.3, square root of 169 and 17 over 19. You need to know that the rational numbers include the terminating decimals, for example, 3.1 and 0.3. And also the square root of 169 is 13, so it implies that it is a rational number. Rational numbers, they can be expressed as fractions. So 17 over 19 is a fraction. It implies that it is a rational number. And then this question was in November 2006. It was saying from the set of natural numbers, write down the first 3 prime numbers. So you need to understand that natural numbers, they start from 1 to infinity. So we need to select from 1. So the first prime number is 2, and the second prime number is 3. The third prime number is 5. Prime numbers, these are numbers with 2 factors only, that is 1 and itself. 1 is not classified as a prime number. Men make a mistake on that, so make sure that you don't list 1 as a prime number. And then the first 3 square numbers, we have 1 is the first square number, and then we have 4 and then 9. Of course, 0 is a square number, but in this case, it is not going to be considered because the question is saying from the set of natural number, of which 0 is not a natural number. You need to be able to express a number as a product of its prime factors. This is very important, especially you may be asked to find the square root, the cube root, the fourth root. You use this method of expressing a number as a product of its prime factor. And also you can be examined about such kind of question that was in November 2024, in June 2024, you'll be asked to find the number by which that given number must be multiplied in order to make it a perfect square. So what you're going to do is that you need to express 248 as a product of its prime factors, and then you arrange the prime factors in pairs. Those that are not in pairs, they are the ones that are going to be multiplied in order to have our answer as a perfect square. So make sure that you perfect that area. The common mistakes when it comes to this first topic of saying square root of 64 is a square number. If you say square root of 64, you're going to get 8, and 8 is not a square number. And also saying 22 over 7 is irrational number, since it is usually used for pi. 22 over 7 is a rational number. Pi is irrational number. And also another mistake is of saying 1 is a prime number. The first prime number is 2. So I hope this is going to help you in your preparation. And let us move on to the next topic. You need to be prepared to answer a question on approximation. It is usually examined on the first question of Maths Paper 1. You need to be able to round to given numbers of decimal places, significant figures, whole number, tenth, 100th, etc. For example, I've put those Zimsec typical question. The first one was from November 2020. It was saying express 19.796 correct to 2 decimal places. So the first decimal place is 7, the second is 9. We are going to look at 6. It is greater than 5. So we round up and we write 0 carry 1. So that 1 is going to affect 7, so that we have 19.8. And then part B, it is saying to 1 significant figure. The first significant figure is 1. We look at 9, it is greater than 0. So it is greater than 5. We round up for it to be 20. And then part C, to the nearest whole number. So we are going to look at that first 9. We look at 7. 7 is greater than 5. So we round up so that we now have 20. So I hope this is going to help you in your preparation. You need to be able to round correct to nearest 10, nearest 10th, significant figures, etc. Let us move on to the third topic. You need to expect to be asked on decimals. Be able to carry out arithmetic operations on decimals, such as addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. You need also to be able to apply BODMAS if given mixed signs. You need to be able to convert from decimals to standard form and vice versa, and understand terminating, non-terminating, and recurring decimals. Let us look at these few questions. There was this question that was in November 2020. It was saying find exact value of 0.72 minus 0.2 times 0.7. So here we are going to apply BODMAS. It means that we first need to say 0.2 times 0.7. The answer that we are going to get, we deduct it from 0.72. And you need to know what is done when dividing decimals. 0.08, it is supposed to be a whole number. So we are going to multiply both the numerator and denominator by 100. And then that one which is saying 0.00231 in standard form, it is going to be 2.31 times 10 to the power of negative 3. So you need to understand that when expressing decimals into standard form, they're supposed to range from 1 to 9. And if it is a number that is less than 1, we are going to say 10 to the power of negative, the number of zeros that are before the first significant figure, right? So make sure that you practice this question that was in June 2023. you can multiply decimals, etc. Let us move on to the next topic. You need to be prepared to answer questions on fractions. When it comes to fraction, you need to carry out arithmetic operations on simple and mixed fractions, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of fractions. You need to be able to convert from fractions to decimals and percentages. So make sure that you practice these questions without the use of the calculator, right? And then that question that was in June 2024, which is saying 8.3 is a recurring decimal, you're going to get 2.6666. So for you to get all the marks, make sure that if you're asked a question on recurring decimals, it is supposed to have some dots after. Maybe you write 2.666. Don't forget to put the zeros. They are very important to show that it is recurring or it is continuous. And then that part 2, which is saying find the square root of 1 and 11 over 25. The first step is to convert from mixed fraction to improper fraction. And then after that, we now have 36 over 25. If we say square root of 36, we get 6. Square root of 25, we get 5. So my tip here is that don't just leave it as 6 over 5. You're supposed to write plus or minus 5 for you to get all the marks. And then that question, which is saying 3 and 2/5 divided by 1 and 7 over 10 times 2 over 5. That question requires you to apply BODMAS. So it means that you first divide before you do the multiplication. I hope this is going to help you in your final preparations. And the fourth topic that we are going to revise is factorization and expansion. It can't be maths paper 1 without factorization and expansion. So make sure that you can factorize the binomial, those with 2 expressions, the trinomial, those with 3 expressions, and quadratic, those with 4. So on those with 2, I advise you that after factorizing, make sure that you check if it can be factorized further. Usually, for example, this one which is saying 3 minus 12y squared, we are going to have 3 bracket 1 minus 4y squared, and 1 minus 4y squared, it can be factorized further because it is a difference between 2 squares. So that is the tip I can give you on factorization of binomial. And the factorization of quadratics, they require you, sometimes you can factorize it as it is, but sometimes you need to rearrange the expression for it to be factorized, right? And then the topic number 5, it is on indices. Make sure that you understand and be able to apply the laws of indices. You also need to be able to solve the equations that involve indices. That one which is saying 4 to the power of negative 2, we are going to apply the negative law of indices. That one which is saying 81 to the power of 3/4, it requires you to apply the fractional law of indices. And then that one which is saying find x if 9 to the power of x minus 1 times 3 to the power of 3x minus 2 is equal to 1. You need to have the same base when solving equations that involve indices. So we are going to rewrite 9 as 3 to the power of 2 and also 1 is 3 to the power of 0, right? And then we equate the powers. That is the same procedure we are going to carry out on number 4. Here we already have our basis, which is the same. So we say 2 to the power of, where we are multiplying, we add the powers. So it is going to be minus 2 plus c. And where we are dividing, we subtract the power. So we say minus 4 and we say it is equals to 3. We then equate the power. I think with this, it is going to help you in your final preparations. And also, you are going to have a question on standard form. it can't be maths paper 1 without a question on standard form. When it comes to standard form, make sure that you can add, subtract, multiply, and divide numbers in standard form. Addition and subtraction of numbers in standard form, they require you to convert to ordinary form first. You add or subtract whilst the expressions are in ordinary form, and then after that the final answer is then converted to standard form. And when you multiplying and dividing, make sure that those numbers which are not raised to the power of 10, they are multiplied on their own. And this is what you do when it is multiplication. You multiply the numbers that are not raised to the power of 10 on their own. And then on the numbers raised to the power of 10, you then need to apply the multiplication law of indices. You add the powers, and also make sure that your number is going to range from 1 to 9. That is the same procedure you are going to do when you are dividing. The numbers that are not raised to the power of 10, they are going to be divided on their own. And then those raised to the power of 10, you then apply the division law of indices. You subtract the powers and then multiply. So make sure that you are perfect in standard form. And then topic number 7, you need to be prepared to answer some questions on number bases. It can be a maths paper 1 without number bases. You need to know how to add and subtract number bases, convert between different number bases, and also solve equations that involve number bases. We have that one which is saying 23 base 5 minus 32 base 5 plus 33 base 5. It means that you apply the BODMAS. You need to add 23 base 5 plus 33 base 5, and then you then deduct 32 base 5 from the answer you obtained. And when expressing 204 base 5 is a number in base 10, you are just supposed to expand in powers of 5. And then that one which is saying 333 base 10 plus 33 base 5 in base 5, you need to convert 333 base 10 to base 5 using the division method, and then add to get the final answer. And then that one which is saying given that 110 base 3 is equal to 14 base x, find x. What you need to do here is you just need to convert from base 3 to base 10, and you solve a linear equation. Even that one which is saying 14 base x, you need to expand it in powers of x for it to be in base 10, and then solve the linear equation. I think these are final exam tips that I can give you when it comes to number bases. Next topic is logarithms. Make sure that you can evaluate the logs. You understand and apply the laws of logarithms. You solve equations that involve logs. For example, that one which is saying log base 2 of 32, right? We need to raise 2 to the power of 5 in order to get 32. So it means that our answer is going to be 5. And then that one which is saying log 3 plus log 9 divided by log 405 minus log 5. We need to apply the laws of logarithms. If we are adding, we multiply. So log 3 times log 9, we get log 27, right? And then log 405 minus log 5, we are going to divide for us to get log 81. And then after that, we now have log 27 divided by log 81. After that, we then apply the power rule of logarithms. Log 27 is log 3 to the power of 3, and log 81 is log 3 to the power of 4. And we are now going to multiply the log by its power, so that it is now 3 log 3, right, divided by 4 log 3. The logs are going to divide each other, so that our final answer is going to be 3/4. And then that one which is saying 3/4 log 3. I remember this question, it was saying make sure that your answer is going to be in simplified log. That was the question, I remember. So we say log 16 to the power of 3/4, and then we simplify 16 to the power of 3/4. It is going to be the 4th root of 16 to the power of 3, so that our final answer is going to be log 8. And make sure that you can solve the logarithms equation. If you see a question with just a log, it means that it is having log base 10. And here we are going to apply the division law of logarithms, because we are subtracting. So we say log base 10 of 2x plus 21 over 5x, right? And for us to solve the equations that involve logs, we now need to remove log by raising 10 to the power of 0. And 10 to the power of 0 is 1. So we now have 2x plus 21 over 5x is equals to 1. And we solve that equation. And then that one which is saying 2 log 8 plus log 25 minus log 16, it also requires us to apply the laws of logarithms. We are going to say log 8 squared plus log 25 minus log 16. Where we are adding, we multiply, and where we are subtracting, we divide. So we're saying log 64 times 25 over 16 in order to get log 100, right? If we say 64 times 25 divided by 16, I think we get 100. And then we divide by, we raise 10 to the power of 2 in order to get our final answer is 2. I don't have a calculator right now to check if it is 1000 or 100. If it is log 1000, our answer is going to be 3. If it is 100, our answer is going to be 2. I think we are done with the topic on logarithms. We now need to move on to algebraic fractions. Make sure that you perfect on solving linear equations, algebraic fractional equations, and quadratic equation. You can simplify the algebraic fractions. You can add, subtract, multiply, divide, etc. Right? And also, you need to be able to solve the equation. Let's say you are given that solve the equation 3x squared minus 4x minus 11 is equals to 0, giving the answers correct to two significant figures. Know that you apply the quadratic equation, which says minus b is x is equals to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. I hope, and also make sure that you can divide algebraic fractions. You can multiply and you can simplify. Try to work out these questions. Let us proceed to simultaneous equations. You'll see a question on simultaneous equations in your final exam. Make sure that you can solve simultaneous equation using the elimination and substitution method, right? Let's say you are given a question like that one which is saying 3x minus y is equals to 7. Y is equals to 5 minus x. You just need to rearrange so that the x, they are going to be in one column, the y's are going to be in one column, 7 and 5 in one column, and then you solve. And then you can be asked a simultaneous equation in that way. This was June 2023. So here, this one, elimination doesn't work when it comes to that one with powers. The one that is going to work is substitution. You say m is equal to 5 minus 3n, and then you substitute 5 minus 3n on m squared. You expand and simplify, right? And then the next topic, there's going to be a question on substitution. make sure that you substitute correctly. Check whether number you want to substitute is negative or positive. Substitution sometimes requires you to know the order of operation board mass. So try to work out November 2011 and June 2010, which I've put there, right? Next topic is functions. Functions and substitution, they are almost one thing. You need to substitute correctly to find, sometimes they can ask you to find the function of given number, or sometimes they can say substitute correctly function of x in order to solve the equation. So make sure that you pay attention. If you are given function of x, for example, November 2010, you're going to say 0 is equals to x squared minus 4x plus 3, and then you simplify. And then that question which is saying f to the power of minus 2, you're going to substitute minus 2 on x, so that we say minus 6 minus 1 in order to get minus 7. And then part B, if find x if function of x is equals to 5, we are going to substitute function of 5. We are going to substitute 5 on function of x, so that it is now 5 is equal to 3x minus 1. So make sure that you are perfect when it comes to functions. You also need to be ready to answer a question on changing to subject or formula. You need to know what we do when our subject appears once, or when our subject appears twice, or when our subject is raised to the power. For example, that question which is saying s is equals to ut plus half 80 squared. Here our subject is appearing once. And then next it is saying y is equals to t minus 3 over 1 minus t. Our subject is appearing twice, so we are going to factorize. And then that one which is saying p is equals to square root of 3x minus p over 3. We need to rewrite square root of 3x minus p is 3x minus p over 3 to the power of half, and we square both sides. So make sure that you are ready to answer a question on changing to subject or formula. You are going to see a question on variation. Either it is going to be direct variation, or inverse variation, or a joint, or a partial. So this is what you need to do. When it is direct variation, you just work it as it is. When it is inverse, you say 1 over the given variation. And then if it is joint, we are going to multiply the given variations. And when it is partial, you are going to add and solve simultaneous equations. That is what you need to prepare on variation. And then matrices. Yeah, it's quite obvious that you are going to see a question on matrices. This is how you prepare for matrices. Make sure that you can do the addition, subtraction, multiplication of matrices with a scalar, multiplication of matrices with same and different orders, finding the determinant, finding the inverse, and also solving problems of singular matrices, right? So make sure that you practice these questions which I put there. They help you in your preparation. Next topic is inequality. Make sure that you need to be able to solve linear inequalities. Simultaneous inequalities represent the solutions on a number line, and also finding maximum and minimum possible values. So try to practice these questions on inequalities. You can be examined on simple map problems. You need to be able to find the scale of length, the actual length, the scale of area, and also the actual area. Practice questions on simple map problems. Usually it's going to be in your paper 1 with 3 or 4 marks, right? And also you need to be prepared for statistics and probability. Usually in paper 1 they are going to ask you on statistics of ungrouped data. So you need to be able to find the mode, the median, the mean, the range, right? For ungrouped data, this is for statistics in paper 2, right? You need to be able to calculate theoretical probabilities, know when we are going to add or subtract or multiply the probabilities, and also be able to construct the tree diagrams and outcome tables. So practice these questions, and whenever you're asked about the mode, median, mean, you need to first rearrange the given numbers in ascending order. This is going to help you to see which one is the mode, and the mode is the one that appears most frequently. The median is the one that is at the middle of distribution. The mean, we are going to say total divided by the total frequency, right? And there are those questions from June 2017, June 2013, and June 2005. Make sure that you can complete a probability tree diagram, right? And also you can solve problems on probability. For example, that June 2013 and that June 2005, it requires you to be able to construct what are known as outcome tables. And also you need to be prepared for polygons. When it comes to polygons, be able to calculate sum of interior angles of regular and irregular polygons, exterior angles, number of sides, and algebraic concept in polygons. Also make sure that you understand the concept of lines of symmetry and order of rotational symmetry. So try to work out those questions which I have sent. It is quite obvious that you are going to see a question on geometry. So make sure that you are able to know the properties of circles, that is the radius, diameter, chord, tangents, etc. And also you need to understand the geometry theorems and how to apply them. Practice these few questions to see your understanding. Geometry is going to be there in your final exam. And also in your maths paper 1 tomorrow, you can see a question on coordinate geometry. Make sure that you understand how to calculate the gradient, the equation of line AB, and also the length of AB. When you are asked about the length of AB, this is what you need to do. You just need to find the length of the line the way you find the magnitude of a vector, right? And you need to understand that the parallel lines, they have equal gradients, and also understand those principle of saying the equation straight line is equal to y is equals to mx plus c. Practice these few questions to make sure that you are now perfect to answer coordinate geometry in your final. It is quite obvious that you are going to see a question on sets. So this is how you get prepared for sets. You need to be able to list elements of set, draw Venn diagrams, understand the set notation, interpret already drawn Venn diagram in set notation, also be able to solve the word problems on sets, right? So practice June 2020, June 2015 to make sure that we are ready to ace your question on sets tomorrow. And also you can be examined vectors, right? When it comes to vectors, make sure that you can find the modulus of a column vector. You can add and subtract the vectors, and also you need to find the length of the line. I think we discussed it in coordinate geometry. It's the same concept that is going to be used. Be prepared to answer a question on bearing. You need to be able to calculate the 3-figure bearing and also the compass bearing. Make sure that you understand these principles before you move into the exam tomorrow. Practice those few questions to make sure that you are now ready to ace a question on bearing. And then the topic that we are going to revise or give some exam tips is traveling graphs, which is also known as kinematics. you need to be able to find the total distance covered. It is area under the graph, right? Be able to calculate acceleration. Acceleration is going to be calculated when the gradient is positive. That is, our slope is going upward. If it is going downwards, it is now deceleration, and the formula is the same. It is final velocity minus initial velocity over time taken. When it comes to acceleration, the final velocity is more than the initial velocity, so it implies that automatically it's going to be positive. And then for deceleration, the initial velocity is going to be greater than the final velocity, so that is why it is going to be negative. Be able to calculate the average speed for the whole journey and velocity for certain given time. Try to work out November 2018 and November 2010. I hope this is going to help you in your preparation for Maths Paper 1 tomorrow. Thank you guys for following me on this channel. I wish you all the best in your exam tomorrow. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share my videos.